ペニーの部屋。あ、綺麗じゃない。鳥がいる。
You know, the birds can easily get in and out of those cages.
見て、鳥たちは、このカゴを自由に行き来できる。
Oh, that's true. Can they even be considered cages?
それが本当ならそもそもカゴって呼んでいいのか？これは
That's some flower.
何かの花だな。
There's something weird about it.
何か引っか
It
か
just
る。
feels out of place.
場違いな感じがするっていうか。鉢植えの花。珍しい形をした色鮮やかな花。元気で世話が行き届いているように見える。鉢の土は新鮮でよく水を吸っているようだ。土の色は不思議な青色をしている。あ、もう一つのあれもそうだったよね。鉢も青い土の色をしてるんだよね。
Looks like nature invited itself in.
どうやら許可なしに侵入している。
Rude.
勝手なことして。あ、こっから鳥が勝手に入ってくるってこと？
It's a birdhouse.
これは巣箱ね。
Are those real birds?
あれは本物の鳥か？
Nope. They're wooden.
いや、木製だな。
They're using up all the perches. What if a real bird wanted to use it?
止まり木を独占してるわ。本物の鳥が使いたくなったらどうするの？7羽の鳥の位置を入れ替えよう。あ、これはこれでもなんか家系図みたいになってる？これって例えばこれとこれの真ん中はこれってことじゃない？あ、これ色も関係あるのか。青と黄色で緑。こうか？
No, that was it.
お、それだ。
Nice work.
やったわね。
Did the door open? What's in there?
ドアは開いたの？何が入ってる？くしゃくしゃの紙。破れた紙切れがくしゃくしゃに丸められている。中には赤い花びらが入っていた。怒りに満ちた殴り書きでこう書かれている。あの女を捕まえてやる。穏やかじゃないね。これバラの花かな？
Penny's books. Mostly novels.
ペニーの本よ。ほとんどが小説ね。
Anything in there?
何か入ってる？
Bed sheets.
ベッドのシ
It's
ー
not
ツ。
even remotely suspicious.
怪しくもなんともないな。
Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
誰かに見られてるって感じたことはあるか？
Mannequins don't have eyes, though.
でもマネキンには目がないわよ。
That's not a comforting sentence.
それを聞いても全く安心できないな。
Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
The mannequins don't have eyes, though.
That's not a comfort. This is the fanciest room so far.
ここは今まで見てきた部屋の中で一番洒落てるな。うん、そうね。
Too fancy.
おしゃれすぎるわね。
What does that mean?
それはどういう意味
I
で？
don't know.
わからないけど。
This is the fanciest room so far.
Too fancy.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
あ、これトランク？
Traveling cases.
旅行カバンだ。
All of them.
全部空ね。
Traveling cases.
Empty. All of them.
That might be the most pointless staircase I've ever seen.
今まで見た中で一番無意味な階段かもしれない。そんなことなくない？だってベッドに行くときに必要でしょ？
A little tea set. Looks recently used.
ティーセット、最近使われた形跡がある。
One of the cups has tea in it.
一つのカップには紅茶が入ってるわ
What's in
ね。
the other one?
もう一つには
Birdseed.
鳥の餌よ。 あ、なるほど。鳥とお茶飲んでたんじゃない？お茶会してたんじゃない？友達だって言ってたし。
A little bedtime reading?
寝る前に読むようかしら。
Let's see.
どれどれ。
Romance novels, detective novels,
恋愛小説、探偵小説、
and
それから
What?
何よ。
this one appears to be both.
その両方が詰まったやつだ。
Nice.
いいじゃない。あ、本が好きなんだ。ここにもあるね。
These books. Mostly novels.
旅行、本当に旅行に行ってたのかな。なんか本の中で遠くへ行ってる想像してるとかじゃなくて憧れてて、この塔から自由に出れてるのかな。
This is the fanciest room so far.
Too fancy.
What does that
I
mean?
don't know.
Looks like nature invited itself in. Rude.
特にないか。あ、これは
This is the fanciest.
Too fancy.
What does that
I
mean?
don't know.
同じか。じゃあ全部見たのかな。特にないね。この花とこれを解いてぐしゃぐしゃの紙。じゃあ戻ろう。どうしようか。いけるようになってるよ。行ってみる？行ってみようか。あ、これが秘密の部屋ってことかな。屋根裏部屋。なんだこれ。
It's a statue of a wolf,
狼の像がある。
standing up straight, like a man.
まっすぐ立ってる。人間みた
You
い。
know there's a name for that.
それをなんて呼ぶか知ってるでし
I
ょ？
know.
知ってる
It's
とも。
not quite as dusty as everything else up here.
ここは他の部屋と比べてそんなに埃っぽくないのね。
Also, it's not a statue.
それから、それは像じ
It's
ゃない。
stuffed.
剥製。剥製？狼男の剥製？これは？
It's a jar. The head screws off.
それは瓶だわ。頭が外れるのね。へえ。これ瓶なの？これは？
Just dusty junk.
ただの埃っぽいガラクタ。これは？
What is that?
あれはなん
Not
だ？
sure. Some kind of reel?
わからない。リールか何か
Looks
か
like
し
it
ら。
might attach to something.
何か他のものにつけられている。リール的なもの。上にネジがついている真鍮のリール。赤く細いロープが巻かれている。これがネジがついてる。リール。何に使うんだろうね。
Just dusty junk.
これもガラクタ？
Nothing catching my interest.
特に興味を引くものはないわ
I'm
ね。
sorry, is this spooky attic boring you?
まさかこの不気味な屋根裏で退屈してるのか？まあね。
Where's that light coming from?
あの光はどこから来てるのかし
No,
ら。
it's just daylight, I think.
昼間だから明るいんだ
There's a
ろ。
decent gap between those floorboards.
床板の間に結構な隙間がある。見てみる？これは
Is that what I think it is?
これ殺人現場では？
Is that what I think it is? Is that what I think it is?
これだけ？これちょうどフレイヤが倒れてた場所の上だ。
What's in that little box?
あの小さな箱には何が入ってい
I
る
bet
の？
it's bones.
私は骨だと
A
思う。
skull, at least.
少なくとも頭蓋
You know,
骨
maybe I
ね。
won't open it.
開けるの予想。
Nothing catching my interest.
I'm sorry, is this spooky?
Kinda.
これは
Just dusty junk.
ガラクタ。
At least the moths are kept well fed.
ボロボロだけど少なくともガがしっかり食べてるみたい。
At least the moths are kept well fed.
これも
Nothing catching my interest.
I'm sorry.
Kinda.
あ、これあれじゃない？外のから見えてた窓。
Someone painted out the window.
誰かが窓をペンキで塗りつ
Do
ぶ
you
し
think
た。
it was done recently?
最近塗られたものだと思う
No
か？
idea.
わからな
Either
い
way,
わ
it's。pretty suspicious.
どちらにせよかなり怪しいわよね。あ、光が入らないようになっちゃってるんだ。
Nothing catching my interest.
I'm sorry, is this spooky attic boring?
Kinda.
これは
Nothing catching my interest.
I'm sorry, is this spooky?
Kinda.
これ調べられない？
Nothing catching my interest.
Sorry.
Kinda.
Just dusty junk.
あ、そう。それだけ。あ、塗りつぶされている窓と、殺人現場が見える床板とリールと狼男の剥製。これは
Sally, you don't have a dust allergy, do you?
サリー、君ってホコリアレルギーだったか？
No. Do you?
いいえ、あなたは
Let me put it this way.
私はだな。ハクション。
Sally, you don't have a dust
No. Do you?
Let me put it this way.
まあ、これだけか。はいはい。誰かがいるとかではないんだ。ではちょっと、あ、これ、
The attic's directly above us, right?
屋根裏はちょうどこの上にあるのよね。あ、そうそう。多分、ここだよね。
Yeah.
ペニーについて聞いてみる？
What do you know about Penny?
I can't really imagine those two being friends, to be honest.
You never know. Do you and Poppy get along?
Nothing. Shocker. Grimore, what could you possibly be writing down?
Oh no, I gave up making notes ages ago. Now I'm just doodling in the margins.
人については話してくれない。一個ずつ。楽譜もノーリアクション。
Do you know what this is?
Guess not.
特に反応なしか。まあ、聞いてみようか。
Percival Pointer. Yes. Good old. So, what do you reckon? Is he the murderer?
I don't know, maybe. We still need...
That is not information we're willing to share at this time.
I'm just saying, keep an eye on him. Holds on to a lot of bitterness, does old Pointer. Just because he's always struggled to support his family. Slightly pathetic, really.
And how long have you known him?
Over 35 years.
Childhood friends? Rivals?
Don't know if I'd do him the honor of considering him my rival.
やっぱり仲は良くなさそう。
Penelope seems to have really settled into a groove. She struggled a bit when she was younger. Always a little estranged.
How come?
Well, she was mostly raised by her uncle, and he really only makes time for his own daughter. Now, of course, she's bringing the two families together through her marriage. It's a nice gesture, heartfelt, but futile.
なるほど。
Poppy's a good friend to my daughter. Always has been. I think they get on well because they're so different.
Different, like how?
Poppy is, she's quite introspective, good with feelings. Fiona, not so much. Still, Poppy always seems to be sulking about something.
The heavy, heavy price of emotional intelligence.
なるほど。
I've never been one for music. Why not ask Poppy instead? Oh dear.
Do you know who this is?
Not a clue.
わかるけど言わないの
Now
ね。
this is still in very good condition. Apart from the crack, of course.
What about those shards on the inside of the horn?
Looks like somebody broke a glass and was trying to conceal the evidence. Cunning. That looks like it might belong to Fitz.
まあフィッツさんのものかもしれないけれども、ペニーのとこにあったんだよね。
Goodness me. What is it?
We don't know. We were really hoping you would.
My friends, shed your hope and let it fall free like sandbags from a hot air balloon.
That's the most depressing idiom I've ever heard.
なるほど。なんか特に手がかりになりそうなものはなかった。ここ行ってみる？あ、そうだそうだ、図書室。あ、フィフィ。
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the environmental factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you, miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk.
Correction. You do not need to talk to me.
Oh no? How come?
Because I am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all crimes.
Thanks for letting me know.
Speaking of which, you have now been at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes. Surely you have already reached a sturdy hypothesis.
A hypothesis? About the murder?
Yeah, come on, Grimoire, hurry up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects. And that includes you. So, could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow, microbiologist, inventor, innovator.
あ、フィフィ、これ目なんだ。なんかあれかと思ったよ。イヤーマフっていうかさ、ヘッドホンじゃないんだね。
You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of...
Correct. My father and mother are named Flora and Felix, but you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro... something or other?
Microbiologist. But it is an insignificant label. My studies cannot be categorized in any one recognized field.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
Constructed a microscope?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head? Did you make that too?
My eyesight began to deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this custom lens instead. It automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing.
あ、なるほど。眼科のメガネを使ってたんだけど、自分でカスタマイズしたんだ。いいじゃない。
What can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi.
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
Oh.
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
あ、ポピーと約束してるのに忘れられちゃったっていうか、ほったらかしにされて泣いてたんだけど、1回や2回じゃないってこと？そういうことが。もう一回聞かして。
What can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes. However, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment.
朝からずっとここである実験のための機材の用意をしていた。ある実験。
Only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
ポピーは別の予定を立ててて、私のことは完全に無視する予定だって分かった。
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
泣いてた理由はそれってこと？あれ、ポピーさんどう言ってたっけ？
I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked. Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face. She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated. Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other?
やっぱりなんか科学的検査をするって言ったのはそれなんだ。でもあれが血に見えるって最初に言ったのはポピーさんなんだよね。
Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been... non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond.
乗り越えられないほど大切なものをなくして完全に喋られなくなった。っていうかさ、なんか資料と違くない？フレイヤじゃないや、フローラ・フェローさんって58歳だった気がするんだけど。
Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been... non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond.
なんだか年齢が違くない？
Name, Haksha. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard.
あ、バインダーを持った変なオタク呼ばわりされてんの？
Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh, yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me.
あ、無職扱いになってる。
Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct.
お父さんに対してはだいぶ辛辣だね。
Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became 1. Increasingly independent, and 2. Increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
そうだよね。みんな特技があって年齢が一緒で仲良しだったんだよね。
Name, Penelope Pointer. Age, 27. Profession, ornithologist. Likes, birds. Dislikes, insects. Notes, Penelope is very beautiful. I have never had very much in common with her.
ペニーのことは綺麗な人だなって思ってるんだ。
Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly 1 grandparent.
なるほどね。遠いというか、そっかそっか。ここはいとこ同士ってことだ。
Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife.
ナイフを持ってた。あれじゃなくて、鋭いスコップじゃなくて。
Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
それはどういうこと？仲良しだからそんないたずらしたってこと？それとも自虐的にそういうこと書いたってこと？まあ聞いていこう。
What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her.
相続したくないならしなくていい。彼女と同じことを言う。彼女って誰だろう？フレイヤとかかな？
I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell.
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene.
Apart from the one in the painting.
Which, as a mere abstract representation, does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife.
ああ、コンセプトっていうのね。なるほど。
The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are?
This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right. But why?
I do not know why. Curious.
そうそう、これも誰が出したのかわかんないよね。
Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course.
なるほど。やっぱポピーがあれなんか血に見えるって言ったんだ。
The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
ああ、事件の時じゃなくてってこと？
Is she laughing?
あ、笑ってるね。
That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the grand hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs.
確かに卵に関連するなんかものがいっぱいあるよね。
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring.
あ、やっぱり血液が混ざってたんだ、この赤には。
The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer.
あ、やっぱりここについてる赤も全部血なんだね。
That blade.
It's a troll for gardening.
It is.
この刃物って言ってたから、やっぱりさ、ピッツさんが刃物を持ってたみたいな、これ勘違いしたんじゃん、スコップ持ってんの。
The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless, unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends
On what?
on the structural integrity of your teeth. This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh, yes. It has a telescopic lens. It could only be used for looking at things that are far away.
これは望遠鏡なの？なんか顕微鏡だって言ってたよね、ホークショーさん
A
は。
wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint.
あ、赤い絵の具がないのにどうして赤色を塗ったのってこと
It is a
ね。
model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya?
わかんない。どうしてフローラの大好きな人たちって言ってた
I
けど。
believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever.
あ、ずいぶん抽象
I
的な
believe
こと言うじ
Freya
ゃ
was
ない。
attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it.
フィフィにはこれが、血で赤く染まった山の上に立ち込める怒りの嵐の雲に見える。まあ確かにそういう風には見え
As
るね。
such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever. This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third.
3分の1に破られた ?3 分の1に破られた。あ、そういうこと？あ、そうだね。まあそうだ、3分の1。っていうかさ、なんかメガネにしたの何年か前って、そのオリジナルメガネにしたのって言ってたけど、これ2年ぐらい前の写真みたいに言ってたの、辻褄合わなくない？
There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz.
どうした？
There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz.
あ、ポピーとフィッツっていうとき、なんかちょっと詰まってるね。
Now this is interesting. Where did you find it?
In the astronomy tower.
And yet, it does not concern the field of astronomy.
Nope.
In fact, you could even say that entomology is the exact opposite of astronomy.
Yeah, you could.
I would not say that, however.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would be quite naive. To study science in any field is to study the connections between all matter in the universe, living or inanimate. An item from Poppy's childhood. Her earliest piano lessons hold some special significance for her.
Why's that?
No idea. She has never graced me with the details, and I am not forthcoming enough to ask.
You two are friends, right?
We are, yes.
But
It is clear to me now that Poppy has become tired of my company.
is it anything to do with Freya?
Oh, no. The changes in Poppy's mood have nothing to do with Freya. Her concerns simply lie elsewhere.
なるほど。ポピーの関心が最近薄れちゃった？それはやっぱりフィッツさんといるからってことかな。
Who is that in the photo?
I'm quite sure that I have no idea.
これはさ、地雷だから言わないの？それともみんな気を使ってくれて口にしないっていうだけ？
Why did Poppy leave shards of glass all over this statue?
What makes you think it was Poppy?
The statue lives in the music room. Who else would it be?
ポピーさんは誰かがピアノに触ったって言ってたよ
It is a
ね。
flower. It reminds me of something, but I cannot say what.
どこかで見たような気がする。
Who is this her to whom the message refers?
Well, I don't know exactly.
Then how can I meaningfully evaluate this object? Next!
Is this yours, Fifi?
I do not recognize it. And besides, I would have no use for such a thing. Perhaps it could be used to hang wet laundry?
Was that a joke?
Yes.
いやいや、今結構ガチめにアイディア出したんじゃない？聞いたかしら？聞いたね。
Fifi's bedroom should be unlocked now.
Can't wait.
部屋、じゃあ行ってみようか。
There's something about Felix's painting supplies.
フィリックスの絵の具が何か引っかかるんだ。
Something suspicious.
何か匂うな。
Let's ask him about it.
来たのにじゃあ聞いてみようか。
There's something about Hawkshaw's handheld microscope. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
そういうこと？そう。じゃあ、言ってみる？
That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all.
すべての供述が取れた？ほんと？ちょっと待って。なんだこれ何？このマーク何？なんかハテナが出てるぞ。
That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other.
ああ、なるほど。供述が一致してるだけじゃなくて、お互いを裏付けるような逆に不自然さがあるってこと。はあはあはあ。なるほどね。で、きっと、これとかついてるところは、顕微鏡なのか望遠鏡なのかっていうのを聞いたり、ガラス瓶について聞いたりできるってことだ。はいはい。で、一応この、なんだっけ？中に、
Locked.
There must be some way to get it open.
中庭だけが開いてない。あれってヒントがなくても開けられる？